His Holiness to bestow the precious Dharma teaching. Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liaoming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubden Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, Golden Mother of the primordial jade pond. 字母丹真卡祖图腾西迪 All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do?
Hola, amigo. Te quiero mucho. Sugoi. Ichiba. Kimochi. Jumi. Yapi. Prin. Konnichiwa. 那现在通知大家
I would like to announce April already.
下个礼拜天就是4月3日下午3点
Next Sunday, April 3rd at 3 p.m.
刚好我们这里做清明节做清明节
That's the Ancestors' Day.
那也就是用
So
王菩萨的附魔
we have Siddhikarpa Bodhisattva, the Earth Store Bodhisattva,
在这个
Homa fire offering ceremony.
清明节的时候
During the Ancestors' Festival,
如果有这个
the Twin Lotus Columbarium,
在里面的
if you have
清明节的时候
purchased some
让王菩萨
spot at the columbarium,
要报名
you need to register for the Siddhikarpa Bodhisattva Homa fire offering ceremony. So it's the same as praying to the ancestors or to the ones staying at the columbarium for their bardo deliverance. So last night at the Seattle Lechang Temple, I have talked about Siddhikarpa Bodhisattva, that he's the one that Sakyamuni Buddha entrusted. He's one of the 8 great bodhisattvas. So he's not only in hells, but in each of the 6 realms of the rebirth cycle. The heavenly realm, Asura, human, hells, hungry ghosts, and animal realms. There are Siddhikarpa Bodhisattva in each of these realms to be in charge of. So I welcome you attend or participate in the Homa fire offering ceremony of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva for the ancestors' festival. On March 30th, Wednesday at 2 p.m., the Rinpo Temple has organized the Great Compassion Repentance Ceremony at the Rinpo Temple that is led by masters and Dharma teachers. And there will be webcasts also, and we welcome your participation for the ceremony, March 30th, Wednesday at 2 p.m. For the ancestors' festival, there will be the Great Compassion Repentance Ceremony led by many masters and reference. And there would be webcasts also. That is a special announcement. Today, we perform Golden Mother Homa fire offering ceremony. And inside this Homa hall, it's completely full. It's full house, not even an empty spot. If there is an empty chair, please take it away. Then we can say it's completely full house. Only 2 or 3 empty chairs, so no need to take them away. And we have the most people today. The most people in attendance today. And we all know of Golden Mother. I've talked about her many times. And truly, she's Grandmaster's first golden sage that Grandmaster encountered. And because of the power of the spirits, my spiritual power also came from her. Golden Mother descended. It's a very rare occasion. And she developed me. She inspired me to start on my path until now. At that time, I was 25 or 26. I wasn't sure if it's 25 or 26. All I remember was I was I was working at the Upa 58 East the survey team. And before that, I was a Christian. And I changed after my encounter with Golden Mother. Because Golden Mother started me on this path and opened my divine or third eye and to see my origin and Golden Mother. And then when I went back to my dorm, I watched for the whole night from 9 p.m. until the next morning. Everything that's happening in heavens and on earth. And I also had the vision of my origin, which is Padma Kumara, or the Lotus Youth. It was the same night, the night of the same day. That night. So that was 26. Up until now, it's been 52 years since. So what happened then is still so vivid in my mind. At that time, I did not know anything. So the dark blue or dark green dressed lady in the temple told me, just kneel down and you will know about it all. And I thought, what? Just by kneeling? And sure enough, as soon as I kneeled down, so I continued. I persisted until now. It's my whole life. So my whole life is completed, dedicated to this Buddhist path. I've learned a lot of things. And like what I said last night, the most important thing is to have a pure mind, pure heart and mind. That's the most important. To prove the Buddha nature, to truly attain or have the pure mind, only then it's called the true attainment. It's extremely difficult. Although I can say that I have established a religious school, and through my own personal spiritual journey, it is not an easy matter. Every spiritual cultivator should pay attention to this. You should not have any selfishness or ego. A Buddha is perfect in his realization and actions. And bodhisattvas strive for Buddhahood above and benefit sentient beings below. They should also have no selfishness, no self-interest at all. Everything is completely for others. But it's the opposite for the whole world. Everyone is for themselves. They think for themselves. They don't think or they don't consider others. They only see the shortcomings or the negative sides of others. They never think about the negative sides of themselves. But as Buddhists, we are the other way around. Otherwise, what use is practicing Buddhism? You can just be a mundane being then. Practicing Buddhism is to always look at yourself, to reflect upon yourself, to think about yourself. What are you thinking about? The shortcomings, the flaws, the faults And the negative parts should be corrected, and that is spiritual cultivation. But instead, you're always looking at the shortcomings of other people, but they are none of your business. That's irrelevant to you. That's the karma, cause and effect of those people. So instead, you should look at yourself. What causes have you planted that you would suffer the retributions or the effects? So you should observe yourself, not others. You don't want to see the flaws of this person and that person and that person. How about your own flaws? You never think about them. So sometimes think about it. What mistakes have I done? Then you correct them. Only then you're called spiritual cultivator. And don't worry about other people's. Don't mind other people's business. All that we can do is to help sentient beings. This is a very important point. And the Vajra Sutra also talks about this. Don't always focus on the flaws of other people. You should observe your own flaws and faults. I know my own flaws, and I gradually correct myself. And I have also received lots of, I have learned a lot also, and also from Grandmaster, from Golden Mother. As I walk this path of sentient beings, then I should suffer the sufferings of sentient beings. Since you have walked the path of the sentient beings, then you should suffer the sufferings of sentient beings. So when a sentient being suffers, it's the same as you are suffering. And then you want to help alleviate that suffering. So we talk about loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Loving kindness is to give happiness to everyone, to others. And compassion is to alleviate the suffering of others. And joy is to do them with joy, just with the flow, naturally, without force. So just following your wish naturally with joy to do them. And equanimity is to forsake your own lives and to equally treat all sentient beings. You can't say that, oh, I like to do that good deed, but not this good deed. You shouldn't be like that. You want to help any single being, anybody, then that would be called equanimity. Don't think this way that that one is despicable. I don't like that person, so you will not help that person. You still need to help them. Then that would be called equanimity. Most people know about loving kindness and compassion, and they also know joy, but they don't quite comprehend equanimity. Equanimity is the same as equality. whether you like them or not, or perhaps even completely foreign to you, you still want to help them all. That's equanimity. This is important. This is what Golden Mother taught me. Let me share a joke. Before, there's a fortune teller that said, I am being bound by love, and I thought it was romantic life, but it turned out to be the pandemic. It's a homophone in Chinese. Really, our Buddha school masters or reference or disciples, they were all being troubled by the pandemic. I'm empathetic toward masters who've been going all over the world to spread the Dharma. But for this past 2 years, they were tied down at the Seattle temple, and they have completely empty pockets, and they drink the northwest wind. And we could have gone to different parts of the world to spread the Buddha Dharma, and many disciples could have come here, but instead they were limited, restricted by the pandemic. And I've been praying for it for the 2 years. At every ceremony, I always ask, talking about prayers. Let me share you another joke. There's a new female co-worker at the office, and she introduced herself and said, her name is Joy. And all the co-workers say, oh, that's wonderful, Joy. So when you were born, your parents must be happy, that's why call you Joy. But the new employee said, but my family name is, well, in Chinese is White. But this homophone means like no, like no joy. So really, this pandemic, this 2-year pandemic, we cannot be joyful. It's really no joy. Now we'll do the question and answer. Question from Malaysia, Lianhua Sun Jin. Sun Jun. asking about Saraswati or Lokeswara, the goddess of marvelous sound and the goddess of eloquence. Are they the same? And are their mantras have the same function or effect? I have received the empowerment of the goddess of marvelous sound, so can I perform the boundary protection of the goddess of eloquence? I have read a Grandmaster's book about the boundary protection practice of the goddess of eloquence. It is another Chinese homophone. And place the water in front of Saraswati and recite the mantra. The mantra 37 times, then sprinkle the water to all directions in the altar. Thank you for your advice and teaching. The question, so Saraswati or Lokeswara, which is the goddess of marvelous speech, is this the same as the goddess of eloquence? Actually, Saraswati has many names. Many names. The goddess of eloquence is also the goddess of marvelous speech, Buddha Mother with marvelous speech, goddess of with beautiful sound, goddess of arts and skills, goddess of arts and talents, all her epithets. In Hinduism, she's very famous, very popular, Saraswati or Lokeswara. Hindu Trinity is Vishnu and Brahma and Shiva or Mahaswara. They are the Trinity or the three greatest gods of Hinduism. And below them is Mahasri or Lakshmi, and then Saraswati or Lokeswara. So the goddess, auspicious goddess, and the eloquent goddess. And then we have Kali and Uma. And Hanuman, the monkey god. They are the major gods in Hinduism. So Saraswati, or the goddess of great eloquence, is extremely popular, famous. It's also in Buddhism. When Sakyamuni Buddha was alive on earth, that Saraswati was the goddess of the Ganges River. So the Buddha highly revered Saraswati, and her mantra, the heart mantra of Saraswati, so Om Saraswati Soha, that's called name mantra. So then her name is Saraswati. The mantra is Om Saraswati Soha. And the mantra of the goddess of eloquence in the
就是这个咒，他讲说，同样的功妙音天理的心咒跟辩才。
So this mantra and the general or the heart mantra of Saraswati have the same functions, of course, because they are the same. The goddess of eloquence and the goddess of marvelous speech. It's the same. Om Saraswati Soha.
一样的咒语，所以是
It's the same
同样的，有同样的功效。
mantra and the same
它的咒是很多
effect and function. There are many mantras.
这个坛城布坛完的时候啊，
And after you set up her altar,
放在大便
you place a glass of water in front of Saraswati.
他打的是大便天理。
This is homophone.
啊，辩才天理前念咒，
The goddess of eloquence. And we said the mantra. 但是在
西力、密力、支力、七七力、耍，此咒共持37遍，偏洒在坛城的四方。
for 37 times and sprinkle the water to all directions in the altar. And this is the most secret boundary protection of Saraswati. And that's the secret altar of Saraswati. And you need to do such boundary protection. Saraswati. The Master often call upon her name. The Master also highly revere her. In my painting room, I remember there is an image, a statue of Saraswati. She is also the goddess of arts and literature. She's holding a lute, musical instrument, Veena. In the flying Devis, in the heaven of marvelous speech, she's always there. And in Chinese, the musical instrument is called pipa, which sounds like a fruit that we can eat. Was that offered by Master Huijin, Saraswati, that you give to me? It's best if you give me a slim one, but that one is very voluptuous. Saraswati is extremely beautiful. When I saw her personally, she's extremely beautiful and very slim, not as voluptuous as the one you give. So you like this? People of the same flocks fly together. So let me ask you, so the statues that you have on your altar are all very as heavy as you are? Why did you give me that? And she's completely naked too. Is it right? Yes. This is so strange. So the mantras have the same effect and function. We just talk about this joke. The afflictions of human beings come from forgetting about their own problems and always minding other people's business and worrying about the problems of God. So it's very easy to be at ease and at peace. It's just to mind your own business, never minding other people's business, and not worrying about the problems of God. So when you're in a bad mood, what you should ask yourself is whose problem, whose business is it? So just mind your own business. Don't mind other people's business. On her birthday, she's very hopeful about the gift that the husband gave to her. So last year, the husband said, "Tonight you don't need to wash the dishes," and I was so touched all night. And then the year before, he gave me $100 more. So, like I buy some French fries to celebrate. And for my birthday this year, he gave me a special break for 1 hour. And I was so touched. But then I asked myself, where should I go for this 1 hour? And 1 hour break, a 1 hour break. Now, we'll talk about the main topic. Last night we talked about chapter 23, doing good with a pure heart and mind. And here, the Buddha asked Subhuti again, Subhuti, in Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, all Dharma is equal without any distinction. So this Dharma is called Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Practicing all good Dharma without any notion of self, other sentient beings, and lifespan will result in Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Subhuti, the Tathagata says that the so-called good Dharma is not good Dharma. It is merely named good Dharma. So, the good Dharma, the Tathagata says, is not good Dharma. Because it is not good Dharma, therefore it is good Dharma. So we should all understand this by now, because Sakyamuni Buddha has spoken this way many times, and I have explained them many times. So you all know what it means, but let me explain it briefly. The so-called Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is the way I pronounce it is the way my mom pronounced it. This is in Taiwanese. But in Mandarin Chinese, I like the pronunciation of my mother. So I'm used to that. Yeah. So all Dharma is equal without any distinction. or everything. Think about it. Buddha nature is equal. No distinction, no high and low. Your Buddha nature is equal to my Buddha nature. There is no high or low. There is no leveling. Let's talk about the whole universe. So which one is up, which one is down? That's only differentiated by human beings. Up and down are defined by human beings. So which part of the earth do you live in? Above or below? Actually, for all of us, our feet are on earth, on the earth. So the earth is below us, but the earth is revolving. So is the earth above us? So we are below the earth? It's a round thing. So simply said, a small grain of sand of the Ganges River. The earth is just like a grain of sand of the Ganges River. And the scientists believe that the solar system of the 9 or 8 planets all the planets from the Neptune, Jupiter, Neptune's, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, the Earth. And there are many planets, satellite planets around them too, in the sky. And nowadays there are many man-made satellites too. So it's hard to count. Where are you with respect to the whole universe? And now we were talking about the heliopause outside or on the boundary of our solar system. The planets Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And there are 100 suns, but we don't feel it because their suns don't shine on us. So the hypothesis is there are 100 suns. In my survey engineering, I also studied about observations of the stars. And in Greenwich time, a small village, Greenwich in England, we use that time. And at a certain hour, certain time, which planet or star will pass by, and then we are watching the scope, the telescope, at a certain Greenwich time, GMT, at which hour, minute, and second, and then there would be a star passing by, and then the brightness is its scale from scale 1 to 4, 1 being the brightest. And they were all recorded in the astronomy book on astronomy. all of the stars. So how big is the universe? And each star that has been discovered by human beings have names associated with it. When you discover a new star without name, and if it is you are the one that discover the star, then the star would be named after your name. So each of these planets or stars would have a name, and they are discovered through the telescope. And Grandmaster did too. And I was wishing for a Sangyan-Lu star, but all that I saw already have names associated with it. So you would know what stars or planets will pass through the observatory. So the equipment is called the observatory of the night sky. So Grandmaster has learned that too, that the universe is boundless, infinite. But during the time of Sakyamuni Buddha, which is 2,600 years ago, he already knew that there are 3,000 great thousand worlds, and one small thousand world so 3,000 of the small thousand world is the same as the one medium thousand world, and 3,000 of the medium thousand world is the same as the one great thousand world, and then 3,000 great thousand world is the same as the whole universe. So Sakyamuni Buddha already talked about the 3,000 great thousand worlds. And the earth is just a very small world. And 3,000 worlds is just one small thousand world. And then 3,000 of it to become a medium one. And 3,000 of the medium one is the same as one great one. And then 3,000 of that, just imagine how many of them. So during the era already, Sakyamuni Buddha was not a human being, he was a Buddha. So what he talked about, the grains of sand of the Ganges River, and each grain of sand is the same as a Ganges River. So how many sand, how many more sand there are? Just imagine. So 3,000 great thousand worlds and the whole universe. How big is it? How can you differentiate them? Impossible. Impossible. Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. It's impossible to differentiate. It's like the whole cosmos, including everything, the 3,000 great thousand worlds. How can you make distinction between high and low? They are all equal. So Sakyamuni Buddha was truly remarkable. The brain of a human being will not be able to fathom that, but Sakyamuni Buddha was not a human being, was not a normal human being. So he already talked about the 3,000 great thousand worlds. Who could have imagined it? Only the wisdom of the Buddha can know it. That's why what he talked about was the ultimate truth. So this Dharma is equal with no distinction. Only then it is called Buddha nature, because there is no self, others, sentient beings, and lifespan. If you practice all good Dharma based on this, that would be unconditional. You don't do anything for any reasons. You do it for money? No. You do it for name or fame? No. Then why do you do it? For no reasons at all. No whys. That's the same as no self, no others, no sentient beings, and no lifespan. And then practicing all good dharma. So Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is to help sentient beings. Subhuti, the so-called good dharma, now we're talking about the good dharma. The so-called good dharma is not good dharma according to the Tathagata. It is merely named good dharma. Just for the sake of a term, it's called good dharma. But why is it not good dharma? We are doing good deeds. Why is it not called good dharma? Many doctors would say that I'm doing good, I'm saving beings, human beings, I'm saving sentient beings, I'm a doctor, I alleviate your suffering, I cure your illness, I cure your cancer, and all sorts of illnesses. And many doctors at the major hospitals are doing good deeds, and they do. There's a term, right? The doctors save sentient beings, alleviating the sufferings. They don't care about rewards. So I just do work like I'm a famous doctor. I go to Africa and to provide service there without asking for money or rewards. So giving to sentient beings, helping sentient beings, that's good deeds, right? That's is it good deed? Think a little deeper. So contemplate it. Ponder it a little bit more. Is there any patient that you can save so that he doesn't die? So the salvation or the alleviation is only for a moment. So you alleviate the suffering, but eventually they would still die. The saviors will also die. The ones being saved will also die. All the patients in the hospital will eventually die, and the doctors all will die too. And today, Sung Yen Lu, who's giving Dharma teaching, and says that he is salvaging sentient beings, but Sung Yen Lu will also die. The speaker of Dharma will die. The listeners of the Dharma will eventually die too. I often ask the youngest one here, Tanjan Katsu, how old are you? 19. Please be seated. Kindergarten.
Yeah, kindergarten baby. Kindergarten baby.
19. At such age, I was naive. 100 years later, will you still be here? You should be brave and live to be 120. It's really difficult to live to be 120. But the Venerable Elder Xu lived to be 120. Oh, So 120, that's extremely hard.
100年后，说法的也不在。
So 100 years later, the speaker of Dharma is no longer here. The listeners of the Dharma also no longer here. And the youngest one, oh, there are several babies out there too.
还有这个 baby 应该120岁，120年以后，还有人在吗？
So 120 years later, any one of us here will still be here? No, none. The speaker of Dharma will no longer be here. The listeners of the Dharma are no longer here. So what sentient beings have I delivered? And what beings have the doctor saved? So strictly speaking, what is good? None. They're all momentary. Suffering is also momentary. Or alleviating your suffering is also momentary. You have money? That's momentary. It's fleeting. Don't be envious of the rich. It's all fleeting. Don't be envious of the beauty. It's all fleeting. Very soon, you will become an old lady with wrinkles all over, and your teeth will all fall off. Very swiftly, you will have osteoporosis. So see, what kind of good deed is that? So the so-called good dharma, according to the Tathagata, is not good dharma. See, Sakyamuni Buddha was remarkable. He knew already. What kind of good is that? None. It's only momentary. At the end, there's nothing. Nothing. At that time, when Buddha nature can appear, then that's no self, no others, no sentient beings, and no time. All gone. So, doing good deed, according to the Tathagata, is not doing good deed. And because it's not doing good deed, it's called doing good deed, because you do it without any motives. But if you do it with a certain motives, then, or certain purpose, then it's not good deeds. So you just do it without any motives, and that's called good deeds. But if you do them conditionally, then that's not good deeds. So the Tathagata says, so you do good deeds, but if you do the good deeds with condition, then that's not good deeds, because you do it to gain some fame, to have name. Then what kind of good deed is that? And the doctors are to make money. Sometimes they wear lots of gold and jades. They're embellished with precious items. And I saw a doctor and said, "But this diamond I got from performing surgeries, and they have a gold belt buckle. It's made from pure gold." Oh, not pure gold, but from gold. Taiwanese rich man would have a belt buckle that's made of gold. And I got it from performing appendicitis surgery. And my Rolex watch is from performing brain surgery. This bracelet made of gold, diamonds, and jewels is from curing my hemorrhage, someone's hemorrhage. So, why did you do them? If for all these things, then that's not good deeds. It's only good deed if you do it without any conditions or without asking for anything. So if you do it unconditionally, it's a good deed, but momentarily. There is no good deed that lasts forever. And the only everlasting good deeds or good dharma is the empty nature. So when you truly practice your own true brightness or clear light radiance, that's complying with the universe. That's called Anuttara Samyak Samadhi. So maintaining the clear light radiance of your heart or mind, that's the Buddha nature, and that would be the true good dharma. And the rest, as for the rest, even when you do them unconditionally or not, according to the sixth patriarch, there is no good and no bad. Is at that moment where none of the so-called good or bad, and he actually talks about Buddha nature. In the universe, a grain of sand of the Ganges River symbolizes an earth. So what kind of good deeds are you talking about? You know, the ants are moving the grains of rice to provide relief to other ants, so they are doing good deeds. And human beings distributing disaster relief packages to help the refugees of Ukraine. That's a good deed, yes. However, with respect to the universe, it's like an ant carrying grains of rice to some other hungry ants to feed them. Mull it over. When you see ants carrying debris of rice to save other ants, relieving their famine. Do you see them? So like Sungyanlu Foundation gave some disaster relief funds or packages to the refugees in Ukraine, or Lotus Light Charitable Society also sent a lot of them to Ukraine refugees in Poland, because they cannot live. They have become refugees, so how can they continue to live on without other people's help? So that's called good deeds. So Lotus Light Charity Society and Sungyanlu Foundation do them for no reasons, and we are providing disaster reliefs for no particular purpose. So that's called good deeds for the moment. But the everlasting good deed is Buddha nature. Is that the bright radiance of your mind that merge into the great empty nature of the universe. Only then it is called attainment. And this is what Sakyamuni Buddha was talking about. There's a female colleague that's all pretty good except laziness. And how lazy is she? That the grandma was sick for a couple of months, and so she went to take care of her. And only after a few days she got better. And everybody praised her and asked her. Because the grandma said, "Oh, if I don't get well and get up, that my granddaughter will die of hunger." So as spiritual cultivators, we cannot be lazy. Audrey Hepburn was very popular before. Audrey Hepburn said, if you want beautiful lips, you want to say kind words. If you want lovely eyes, you want to see other people's goodness. If you want a slim figure, you want to share your food to the hungry people, with the hungry people. So, do you understand, Hui Jin? Don't be so selfish, okay? The 5-year-old Xiaoming was flipping through an photo album, and asked Dad, "Who's this beautiful lady next to you?" And Dad was looking at the photo. A young lady in slim figure, beautiful and generous, and then thought of the wife used to be, "That's your mom." And then Xiaoming look at the one in the fat lady in the kitchen and said, "Oh, that fat lady is not my mom." See, even beauty is fleeting. So beautiful look is also fleeting. You think someone is beautiful right now. Why don't you use the visualization of white bones? Because the white bones don't appear, you only see the white skin, white flesh. I've told this joke before, but let me tell it again. It's not bad. He's on the subway, and the woman said, "Oh, I have headache," and the boy kissed her head and said, "Still, how's your headache? It's gone." And then the girl said again, "I have toothache," and the boy kissed her cheek. "Okay, is it still painful?" And the girl said, "No." And then there's a grandma said, "Hey, young man, can you cure hemorrhage?" Hemorrhage.
Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme Hum.